Welcome back to Nerd3's Top 100 Games of All Time. Yesterday we had 100 to 91. Today, 90 to 81. Let's kick it off with number 90. Thomas Was Alone. Here's a weird comparison to make about Thomas Was Alone. There's a saying in wrestling, which is that a good wrestler can put on a good match against a broom. Like, you don't need to have an opponent to put on a good match, because wrestling is about, like, doing moves, but it's also about selling the injuries that your opponent's moves do to you. So you can actually you can make the broom look good as a wrestler if you are a good wrestler. And Thomas Was Alone kind of, to me, has that feeling of a good wrestler that's going up against a broom, because it is just geometric shapes. That's all it is. Its characters are just geometric shapes, and yet it is one of the most heartfelt, warm, and wonderful stories ever committed to a video game. It is so full of love and wonderment that you kind of go, why do we bother with the big 3D face? Why did EA go on stage at E3 and go, we've got these beautiful faces, 1,000 million polygons, so you can emote directly? I mean, they literally, AAA people go on stage and go, oh, we got better graphics, so that means you can connect to them better. Really? Because I've never really connected with characters as much as I did a little red rectangle and his friends. And that says a lot about that game, and that says a lot about writing and performance in video games, and that says a lot about Danny Wallace and Mike Bithell, but mostly, it says a lot about wrestling. What? Number 89! Resident Evil 4. Ooh, a rarity in this list, a horror game. Now, you're not going to see many horror games because I'm not into sort of the... I think horror games are badly balanced. They go too far towards the horror and not enough towards the game, and I think Resident Evil 4 treads that line perfectly. Just goes straight along it perfectly, because it's a game where you constantly feel like you don't have enough ammo, but you'll still manage to progress. You are always on the cusp of failure, constantly. And it's so beautifully balanced at that point. There's never a point of Resident Evil 4 where you go, I am an unkillable god, because that point never comes, and that's great. That's wonderful. I mean, there are also mustards of the not jump scare, because a jump scare is boo, and then you shit your pants, and then that's it. It's done. It's over. It's a thing that's over, and there's no tension left. Resident Evil 4 knows that for a good hour, it can just have no villains. Like, just nothing appears. There's nothing there. And you make the horror in Resident Evil 4. You just sit there going, shit, why has nothing got me yet? Shit, what's going on? Shit. And then you just go, oh, hang on, maybe it's not me. Maybe nothing's going to happen. Maybe I'm going to be... And then a monster bursts out of a fridge! And that's the poo point. And that's the exact perfect poo point moment. It's basically Resident Evil 4 perfectly times its poos. Number 88. Gunpoint. Gunpoint is a game about the importance of mechanical trousers in espionage. And I've just realised I don't actually have to say any more than that to sell it to you. Number 87. Far Cry 3. Far Cry 3 is a very unusual game in that everybody has their own stories about it, yet most of the stories have the same ending. I'll give you an example. You take your hang glider and you jump off the top of a big cliff and you just start sailing along, and below you is this beautiful jungle vista, and what's that down there? Oh, it's a guard patrol. Shall I investigate that? No, I'm going to ignore that for a moment. Oh, what's over there? Is that a town? Through the trees? No, it's a temple. There may be a secret temple. I wonder if that's filled with secrets. It could be filled with gold or bullion or weapon upgrades, and then an alligator ate me. And that's how most stories end in Far Cry 3. It was just, and then an X ate me. And I kind of like that. I dig that that's the thing. It's the game where things eat you. And be it bear or alligator or shark, it's always just the game where you're just having a lovely time and then you're eaten by several things at once, usually. It's the being eaten by things game, and I quite like it. Number 86. Just Cause 2. Well, stomp on my fingers and call me Tina. Why is Just Cause 2 so far down on this list? I mean, at some points I've referred to this as one of my favourite games ever, and that's true. Unfortunately, it loses points. I mean, it has points for ambition, has points for how well it was pulled off, but it loses points for how it's held up. Because Just Cause 3's wingsuit, which is incredible, makes Just Cause 2 feel really slow now. And if you go back and play Just Cause 2, yeah, it's an open world sandbox filled with insane fun. Yeah, you can catapult a Boeing into the sea. but not having that wingsuit just feels so much slower, and I just ache to go and play Just Cause 3 and play with that wingsuit, and it kind of just fell down this list for me. I mean, that's the system. You can't beat the system. I mean, I came up with the system, but still, no favorites, no favoritism. We're doing this properly, scientific. I wrote it down and everything. Number 85. Broforce. Broforce is one of those games where you have to kind of wait for an explosion to stop exploding until the screen clears, and then you can see if you've survived or not. I love the absolute full-on fucking bananasness, real word, of Broforce. It's just so goddamn fun, and the character switching, the constant switching between characters means you have to constantly mix up your playstyles and learn new characters, and every character's a reference, and loads of characters. It just means it's just so much more fun, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful. I love it. I love Broforce to absolute tiny explodey Satan bits. Number 84. Spelunky. Spelunky was my lunchtime game. I would eat lunch and play a game for 20 minutes, and the game I would always go to is Spelunky, because there is no finer waste of 20 minutes than Spelunky. I mean, you'll die at the end of those 20 minutes, or you'll have a slightly extended lunch, and that's the only two options. Like, lunch ends when you die, and that adds a lot of pressure. I mean, lunch is a sacred time, and timing it to a death in a video game is, especially a difficult game like Spelunky, may have been a bad idea, but it made me love that game. I spent many hours trying to work out how to do things. There are secrets in the game that I've still not found, that other people have found and beaten me at many, many times. But I keep going, and I keep playing, and I keep testing, and I keep blowing myself up and jumping down cliffs that I shouldn't, and falling in spikes. And that feeling of the ghost coming at you and you have nowhere to go and just going, well, guess lunchtime's over. Number 83. Euro Truck Simulator 2. Euro Truck Simulator 2 is one of those games that people want to play and nobody knows why. I mean, you tell someone it's a game about trucking across Europe, and they'll go, tell me more. Like, no one goes, boring. It's got almost like universal appeal, even though it is just a game about driving things. And for me, the first thing that came to my mind for that game was one beautiful moment where I went from I pretty much went across the entire map, and a thing that was kind of going to make or break my entire career, because like I was really low on money because I'd hired too many people and stuff, and they weren't paying out as well. But I just did this really long delivery because it would just pay out, and it's an incredible amount of money, and I get to the sort of the finish line, and I start backing my truck in, and I'm like, yeah! And then I look around, and the truck's gone, and at some point, the back had just gone, and I had no idea where it was, and I just sat there in quiet resignation, knowing that my company was over, and that was it. I'd have to restart the entire thing again, and I was okay with that. Not at first, I'm going to kick the telly in at first, but soon I was okay with that. Number 82. Sid Meier's Alpha Centuri. Back in the day, Civilization 2 was my crack cocaine. It was less the one more turn, it was more the one more entire game kind of game. I lost countless hours to Civilization 2, and then Alpha Centuri came out, and that was like crack cocaine plus, and it had everything crack cocaine had, but like less of the downsides and more of the addiction. And so I played an ungodly amount of hours of Alpha Centuri, to the point now where if I start going to sleep, I just hear, the drones need you, they look up to you, in my head every night. Every night. Number 81. Beyond Good and Evil. Beyond Good and Evil is often described as being very French. It's very French. I mean, it's like the film Amélie, or Blue Cheese, or Surrendering. It's a very, very French kind of thing. I mean, the good bits of France, not the people or the culture, but like the Frenchness, that certain je ne sais quoi, for lack of a French word. It's a game about an alien invasion, and you play as a reporter who is reporting on the alien invasion and trying to uncover the truth, and then your hovercraft gets rockets and you fly past a space whale on your way to the moon. That literally happens. It's a wonderful game. It had a HD re-release quite recently, or 7 years ago, because they're both the same thing in my head. So, you should play it if you haven't done, because it's very French, but good. But French. Anyway, that's enough for today. Tomorrow, 80 to 71. Ooh, you lucky bastards. Don't know why you're lucky. Ooh, numbers are still going in the same direction. Good for you.
Please don't go. The drones need you. They look up to you.